One. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Sunday Shift. Make sure that you like, you share, you subscribe, because if I don't say it up top, I'll forget. Tanya, how are you?
Y'all, for those tuning in, we just went through a session of complaining about the winter and its havoc on our skin.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think it's a product of me getting older because a lot of things are happening now to me that hasn't happened when I was younger, and it's upsetting
Mm-hmm.
me. But
Mm-hmm.
other than growing pains, this week was, it's pretty light week, 3 days. Um, 4 day weekend. Yeah, 4 day
Boom.
weekend.
I don't
Um,
want to go back to work.
I do not. Um, Turkey Day, I had like a Friendsgiving, and we didn't even have turkey. We had chili. And we watched romantic rom-coms on Netflix, black
Mm-hmm.
ones. We watched, I think it was Meet Me at Christmas, and it was another one called Christmas Kiss or something. It starred one of
Mm-hmm.
our soap opera actresses on Young and the Restless, and it was pretty cute. And then Friday, what did I do? I went over to my best friend's in El Sobrante and met with a college friend. And then yesterday, I made myself Thanksgiving. So I didn't make turkey or anything, but I have to have dressing with cranberry and yams. And I
Yep.
do, yes, I'm one of one of the black folks that like green bean casserole, except with a twist. It's essentially actually Alfredo, chicken Alfredo with green beans instead of pasta. Because I add so much stuff to it. It's like so yeah, I had to have those things, and I just paired it with a chicken leg, and that's pretty
I
much my
remember
Thanksgiving dinner.
I remember one Thanksgiving growing up, my mom tried to make us green bean casserole, like amongst all the rest of the food. And
Right?
so everybody just like literally the whole family just looked at it and nobody had any. And she was so bad. She's like, if you don't put some of this on this plate, you can't have any sweet potato pie. I was like, I don't think I want any pie this year. Like everybody was so rude.
It's actually pretty good if you add stuff to it. Don't just, look at the Campbell soup recipe. And if you go on Instagram and if you go on Instagram and look up all kinds of recipes, Black folks be coming up with stuff. It's just full
I
on.
I believe that that's true, but
Yeah.
I just because you can doesn't mean that you
I mean,
should.
well.
um, Well, we had Wingsgiving, and so we
Nice.
had just like a variety of like wings, like barbecue wings, hot wings, like all the things. So that's what we had. And I'm at my mom's, so people came over. Um, Tonight, I'm putting up my Christmas tree. I'm at my mom's
Oh,
until
nice.
I'm basically in Milwaukee, and it is cold until the new year.
Uh-huh.
It's cold here. I had to buy a coat because I was not planning on being here this late. Um,
Uh-huh.
I had some like personal stuff happen, so just have been here reconnecting with friends and family. But yeah, it's cold.
Mm.
I'll say that again. I did go see Wicked. Ugh, my life has changed.
Oh man, so I think
It's so good.
I'm gonna have to make a weekend of it because I need to see Wicked, and I'm hearing great reviews for Moana, even though
Oh, I did not
nobody
hear that.
expected a oh, I've heard like some people are making some great stuff, saying some great things about it, like they cried and that, you know,
Hmm.
um The Rock had
I
a
heard the
real
opposite.
emotional yeah, The Rock had a real emotional scene or something. And I was
Hmm.
just like, I was feeling some kind of way because Disney came out with Moana 2, they came out with Mufasa, and I'm like, nobody asked for these things. Why are you trying to mess up perfection?
Hold up.
So that's what I was thinking.
Beyonce is gonna be in Mufasa, so I will be there opening
Oh,
night.
she's gonna be in Mufasa? But
Yes.
she's but her character she played in the other one was just a kid. What's she doing in this one?
She's gonna be in. She's gonna be Nyla. Nyla was grown, and it eventually what got grown, and then
Okay.
Blue Ivy is in it, her daughter.
Okay.
So
Wait a minute, is
as
Mufasa an original story or
I have no
is it
idea.
the little kid after? Did they name the little kid the Simba's little kid Mufasa?
I have no
I
idea.
don't know. Either way, I didn't ask for it, but I'm gonna check it out.
As a certified member of the Beehive, reigning member of the Beehive since 1997, I will be there. I will be there. Um, yeah, but Wicked, amazing. I was one of the people who was like, I can't believe they're doing this like 2.5 hours, and or like
It's two and a
yeah,
half
a little.
hours?
It's yes, it might be a little bit more. And
Mm.
it's only part one, and then part two comes out next year. And I was like,
Oh,
that's
for Wicked.
ridiculous. And I was like, oh no, 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 no! I needed all of this. As a matter of fact, if you would have given me part two, I would have sat there and wait, and like y'all could have got 5 hours of my day. That's how good it
Mm.
was. Yeah. So,
Okay.
oh, I forgot. This is in my notes. I just want to thank the people. Obviously, it is not, this is free. We love y'all. We do this because we love it. But people gave us buy me a coffee. So Jen and
Yay.
Heather and Liz and Aaron, and then there are two people who I don't know their names, but it's CTT Traveler and Happy uh, Badu. We appreciate you, and we're gonna buy Tanya a new mic
So
with this
yeah, because
money.
yeah, my headphones broke, and so I've been using my earpods for this. So for the past
Yeah.
2 days. So thank you all. Thank you so much.
Y'all are so kind to us. We
Mhm.
really, really appreciate it. We do this because we love chatting with each other, and it makes sure that we chat with each other once a week, even if I'm mad at the show sometimes. So, thank you. Do you want to get into the week?
Sure.
Who was your performer of the week?
Rick Hurst, Rick Hurst, Rick Hurst.
Mm, what a mess, and I love him.
Yes. And I also want to give a shout out to James, the little kid that plays James. I don't know what his name is.
Oh, yes. He's so good.
He's so
He's
good.
so funny.
Yes. He's playing the perfect little mix of Maxie and his dad. So love it. But yeah, I think there
But
was
also
like a
kind of raised by Spinelli.
right.
Great.
There's a huge debate over Rick's strategy in the trial that we'll talk about later. We talk about the story. But in any case, everyone's been saying Rick Hurst is the best return GH this year, hands
Yes.
down. And
100%.
he's been, playing it 100% perfect. His story has been written perfectly. And I don't know why well, I'm glad that they're doing it so well for Rick. I don't know why they can't do it for the other characters, but maybe they underestimate Rick's value to the
I think that's
audience.
what it is. I think
Yeah,
that's what it
and
is.
so shout out
And
to
thank
yeah,
God. Thank God that's what it was because
right,
I
if
do
they're
believe that they
yeah,
did all of this other kind of like whatever for Lucky and Jason because they felt like we needed it.
right.
I actually think that they shortened whatever they were going to do with Lulu as
Yeah.
well because she, has had a couple instances and now she's about to see her family. And I think
Yeah.
that they did that because these other returns have been such a flop.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope that they're learning and just getting better at it. But Rick Hurst has been amazing. So thank you, Rick,
Hmm.
for being amazing. That's pretty much
Yeah.
it. I don't, yeah, it's a short week, so we didn't get
Yeah.
to see a lot. Oh, but also shout out to, well, I'll let that be a hot topipic.
Oh, I loved Jeff
Hot
Kober
take.
and
Oh, that's what I was gonna
oh, I love their
say.
Jeff Kober and Jonathan Jackson scene
Jackson.
together.
Mhm.
They were just like volleying off each other, like these like really perfect actors. So
Mhm.
much talent. And I love them together. We'll talk more about like the what they were talking about, but just their
Yeah.
scene together was really really good.
Yeah. I had tweeted about it, and someone who I know does not watch General Hospital was saying, yeah, that actor has was pretty amazing, or he felt some kind of way about that actor who played, I guess he was in what's that zombie television show? Breaking, no,
Walking Dead.
Walking Dead. They like feel some kind of way about him in Walking Dead, and I was like, oh,
Hmm.
so, and I didn't
I
know
didn't. I
which
don't
one
watch
of
Walking
them.
Dead.
I don't either. So I just thought it was cool that, even though even people who aren't soap opera fans recognize how great an actor Jeff Kober is. I'm
Hmm.
assuming it was Jeff Kober because I don't know if Jonathan Jackson was ever on. Either way, one of them.
Look,
Both.
I was about to Google it. I was about to Google it. I have the internet here, but yeah, I'm
Yeah.
thinking it must have been Jeff Kober. He does a lot of
Yeah.
character acting.
Yes.
He was on like an episode of Criminal Minds, which I love. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Jeff Kober.
Yeah.
It's like the first
So
thing that comes up. It goes Jeff Kober, movies and TV shows. Jeff Kober, Walking Dead. So it was him.
awesome. So
Hmm.
yeah. Shout out to that goes to the caliber of acting that he does that, even there's fans of him from all sorts of, genres. So yay.
Hmm. He was also in New Girl,
I don't remember that, but then I didn't watch all of New Girl, so
early New Girl. He was like their landlord or something.
hmm.
Anyway, um, GH. We don't have to talk about New Girl. That's a whole other podcast, which I would do. I do love me some New Girl. And I
Mm.
do watch. I do listen. CC and Winston have a podcast together, a rewatch podcast, and I do listen to
I would love to have a reason to binge watch New Girl again.
that. Hmm.
Yeah.
Shout out to Lamorne and his Emmy. Anyhow,
Yeah.
let's get into this week. Ava's trial. Let's talk about it. So obviously, Ava's on this trial for pushing Kristen out of the window and resulting in the death of baby Irene. Which shout out to baby Irene being on the record. Take that.
Hmm.
That's that baby's name.
Yes.
And so we have Joss, Trina, and Geo testify because that's the best we could do with our young adults, I guess. We also have, Rick practically sitting on Christina's lap during the testimony
In her
um,
face.
in her face, but it was very satisfying. The
Yes.
why are you lying? Mm, I loved it.
Loved it.
But people know what happened with the trial. We're still waiting to hear the outcome. Want to hear what you think about like the performances, the way it's rolling out, how they're doing it. How are you feeling about the trial altogether?
Hmm. So the debate that it was on Facebook on one of those fan groups, and they were talking, somebody was saying that they felt that Rick was just too mean. Um, but and I was saying that the nuance of, his strategy was amazing, actually, because even before the trial began, he kept saying over and over to Ava and to Molly that his goal was to get her to see it as an accident. And I think the strategy was as well, in the jury room, to get them to a point where they see it as an accident where no one was at fault. However, in the beginning, he was very much, um, at least he conveyed to the jury, very much thinking that, oh no, it's not actually Ava's fault, it's Christina's fault. And he did, he showed via the testimony how volatile Christina was. He, I guess he put that plan into motion to make her seem volatile in the public so that he can have testimony um, about her, just going off in public. And he even got other people to kind of say that, you know, even like with Molly, he got her on the stand saying that, if Christina hadn't gone to Ava's place, none of this would have happened. So he set it up to make it seem like Christina was volatile. And also, even though he didn't overtly do so via testimony, he did let it out or let the jury know that, her intention wasn't even to let Molly keep the child. He got her to
Mm,
constantly say,
yep.
it's my baby over and over. She didn't quite say call the baby Adele, but maybe just basically claiming that baby as her own, even though it was supposed to be for Molly. So he put
So
all
your
that in
word
the
doesn't
air.
mean anything, is
Right,
what he
your word
said.
doesn't mean anything and all that other stuff. But in the end, in his closing arguments, he's like, it just seems very obvious that it was a tragedy, no matter what happened. And so my thinking is that what he conveyed to the jury was that,
Mhm,
we've heard everything. Yes. Christina's volatile. Yes. Um, she has some issues. And Ava, okay, yeah, Ava's had a past. And she still does some silly things because he didn't really argue against the fact that she changed the scene of a crime. He didn't really argue about the fact that she's had a past. He kind of let that go in the ether, right? So what
mhm,
he did was he said, we've all heard the testimony here. And Christina's volatile and she has some issues. Ava has a past, but she would never murder a child. So let's just walk away from this situation, understanding that what happened was a tragedy and that no one really was at fault. I thought that was brilliant. I was like,
mhm.
and maybe I'm actually reading too much into the writers and this brilliance of the strategy. I don't know, but that's how I took it.
Yeah, I took
Rick,
the same way.
yeah, that Rick was so masterful in his defense of Ava that I actually believe that I think she will get off just simply because I don't know if, the writers want to put Ava in jail right now, but I think, he sold me. I would have voted not guilty if I was in
Hmm.
the jury. And, I
Yeah.
think he could have even taken it further if he wanted to cross-examine Molly to be like, how do you feel about your sister, even though, she signed this contract or no, she didn't sign any contract, but you guys had a verbal agreement that this child is yours and she keeps claiming it as hers. How do you feel about that?
Hmm.
But he didn't do that because I guess because he didn't want to put, Molly into any more pain. But that's the annoying thing. I think that would be my only critique is that they didn't play up the fact that Christina was really going to keep that child. And my other critique is that they did not cross-examine or they didn't get testimony from TJ. It's almost
Mm.
as if he was a non-factor, and that's I think very disappointing that his testimony was not allowed, but
Yeah,
it
I
may not
think
have been
that
needed.
Yeah, I think that for me, I mean, I agree with all of that. I think that
Yeah.
the reason he didn't go in on like the what whether how everybody felt about her keeping the baby and all of that is because he whispered to Ava, he has to like appear like he's kind
Hmm.
of nice to her in order to go in. And I do
Hmm.
wonder if he thought that would be overkill. I
Hmm.
also think, just like fourth wall, the I think that the writers are really starting to understand that they have written Christina in a way that makes her very, very unlikable. And so
Hmm.
they continue to like erase Molly and TJ's reaction so that we don't feel a way about Christina in that way,
Hmm.
even though we still do.
Hmm.
I am frustrated because Sunny knows Ava. It doesn't even make sense that Ava would push Christina out of a window, not on
Right.
purpose. And so, if Christina, and to me, this is like the problem with the way they have allowed Christina to operate, with
Hmm.
calling that baby Adela, with like trying to get Ava locked up. It is like no care for her mental health and her sense of
Hmm.
reality.
Hmm.
This is not what happened. It clearly was an accident. If Christina wasn't claiming that Ava like forcefully pushed her, they might be able to get her for something different, like manslaughter or whatever it is that happens when something's an accident.
Hmm.
That she didn't make it like malicious, but she goes in there and she tells the story of what doesn't even make sense to be Ava. Ava is actually not impulsive like that. Ava is
Right.
very calculated, and
Hmm.
Sunny more than anybody knows that. And so it's just silly to me that this is like the way they're playing it out. And I could have him go harder on Christina because what she is doing is ridiculous. The only
Hmm.
time he was like, "Why are you lying?" is this other time, or like this, like the
Hmm.
first time. I would have
Hmm.
loved for him to say, "You blame her for all these things. Is this your way of trying to like get her to pay?" Because that's basically what her and Jocelyn said.
Right.
And then the other part is, you know, if she was, he said this a little bit, but I think that it would have been better to let it breathe. Of if you felt like she is such a danger that you laid out, if you felt like she had did all these things that you said she did, then why would you take your pregnant self to her room?
Hmm.
Obviously, you don't feel she's a threat. If you're telling us you love this baby, if you're telling us you're protective, if you're telling us you're going to keep this baby, then you clearly didn't feel like she was that much of a threat because you
Right.
wouldn't have gone there by yourself. So I thought, what did you feel about homophobic Maria Santos's testimony?
Yeah, it was pretty obvious that she was lying, but I
Mm-hmm.
also think that maybe Rick knew this because he kept asking her. He's like, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" But I think he let it sit because again, he wanted to convey that, all of this was accidental. But it was pretty obvious. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it was obvious to us because we were there and there's no he said, she said. But I think she's lying to get into Sunny's good graces, whatever
Right.
that is. Or maybe she feels remorseful of how she's treated Christina in the past and wants to do better. I don't know, but she was definitely lying. And at first I was just like, why is she there? But then I forgot that yes, she was meeting with her daughter at the pool at the time, so she was a witness. But other than that, a lot of people were like, why is she there? Why is she there?
But
And
it was
yeah.
confusing because I guess maybe the prosecution called her, but she seemed surprised when Rick called her.
Right. But
I
I think,
guess,
yeah, so she didn't know it was actually, she didn't know it was public knowledge that she got into a car accident with Christina.
right. I don't know how Rick knew
Right.
that either. He's such a weirdo. But
Yeah.
But even when she got up, she went up as Rick's witness. She didn't go up
Right.
as the prosecution's witness, as somebody who would have been called by them because she was telling the story all over again. So I don't know
Yeah.
if they had her there as like, oh, she's there to support Christina or support Sunny.
Hmm.
I kind of think they wrote it this way so that maybe we can start trying to forgive her, and then that gives puts her in Sunny's good graces.
Hmm.
Something Tara from the GH report said that made me laugh is like, Sonny don't be going a long time without, some strange. And it's been almost a year
Right.
because he went off on Nina last New Year's.
Hmm.
This is new territory for Sonny. So,
Sunny being single for so long is crazy.
right.
So,
So, so
I mean, even between like Carly and whoever else he was with, he had
he be
some
sleeping with
DA.
divorce
He was,
lawyers.
he'd be sleeping with the DAs. He'd be sleeping or getting them like, but like, dude, I want to get with Sunny even though I'm trying to prosecute him. He's sexy. Let me get in the
DAs,
bed with him.
feds.
Everybody, all the ladies. So he's kind of
So
slowed down a little bit.
I do this. This is another Tara thing. She always says she thinks that Bo was just like Sonny's a grandfather now. Okay, we not about to have him out here just hopping around. Um, but I do think, even though I don't like it or want it, I do think this is probably going to lead to like even whether it's long term or short term. Can't talk today,
Yeah.
and I'm sober. It's going to lead to something with the
Yeah.
two of them down the road. Like this is setting up, like, oh, Sonny's so grateful that she lied for his daughter.
It doesn't even have to be about the gratefulness. I mean, they've been teetering on the edge of flirtation, ever since she dropped into town. So it's just this, sooner or later gonna happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Not interested, not a fan of it. I do appreciate that Rick being the first person to mention that Irene was also biologically TJ's.
Hmm.
This is what I'm talking about with how Sunny and Alexis allow Christina to be so delusional, and like allowing her delusion to just run wild is actually not healthy for her.
Mm-mm.
It just makes her more annoying. And if we're gonna have to see Christina's hospital, I would love to see her process this in a way that like makes sense. I know Sam, RIP to my girl, made her sign up for a grief group. Like if we're
Hmm.
gonna see anything, I'd rather see that and like her coming on the other end of this, particularly because I don't. It will be different if we still had Molly and Christina at odds. Then it would make
Right.
sense that she was still operating this way. But to have Molly have to sit there and be sympathetic and watch her talk about how she was going to keep her baby,
Hmm.
I'm not interested in that.
Hmm. You know what? It sounds like somebody's going to tell her some kind of truth because in the previews, she's having a conversation. She's like, I want you to tell me the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe someone's going to be like, you know what? You're probably not going to win
Yeah, I think
this
that's
Ava
true.
thing. And
Yeah,
then yeah, she may start to learn from it, or they'll get on that revenge kick. And again, there's still this question mark for me on why Sunny is asking her to run the business. What does that mean?
that's
And
so
I don't know.
silly.
Yeah, I'm just like maybe like people have been saying like Christine should take over the business, not Christina should take over the business. I'm
But
like,
they mean
why?
the mob.
Yeah, but
He's
maybe
telling her to
she
take over
wants
the
to.
coffee.
Yeah, right now. But maybe she's like, what if she's angry enough? Maybe she'll want to. I don't know because that's the thing. Her vendetta against Ava is crazy to me because Ava is not only dangerous just because of what she's done to um her brother, but Ava is a former Jerome. She's like in the
Mm-hmm.
business, and even though she's not necessarily doing all the gangster stuff, she's about it. So Christina's trying to, hang with the big boys almost.
He said, Ava be listening to Kendrick. Um,
Right.
but I have to bring him up,
Right.
obsessed. But
Oh.
I think the other thing that is for me really annoying it is this comes to like how the show accepts feedback.
Mm.
And we've talked about this a little bit, but like, I'm not on Twitter as much. I do see some of the Facebook stuff and I see a lot of the Instagram stuff. And for me, the show, they don't understand what is an agenda and how fans like organize an agenda way versus like what is actual feedback. Because the reality is, if you gave us a show that was like cohesive, that told character driven stories, that made sense, like not like Lulu getting up out of the bed with no wires and all that bullshit. Like, if you actually told us a real story that made sense and that felt intentional and it felt connected and it felt character driven, we would accept a lot. Even if it wasn't like my favorite character getting whatever, even if it wasn't my favorite couple, whatever it is, we would accept it because we're soap viewers, right? Like we will be okay with that. you when you try to pander to fan bases or listen to just what's said online, you end up missing it. Because, and this is my soapbox, so I'm so sorry this is happening, y'all, but this is my soapbox about social media in general. This is so Twitter, this is political Twitter, this is whatever. People are chasing likes, people are chasing like engagement with their content. This is not, I started Twitter in 2009. A lot of us was tweeting into the ether. If nobody liked my tweet about what I had for breakfast, I didn't care. In 2024, people are tweeting in order to get people to like it, in order to get people to agree with it. So people figure out what is popular and then they start tweeting about it and figuring out how to chase that like. So that comes to me saying Twitter had decided they didn't like Carly. They didn't like Carly's kids. They didn't like anything associated with her. So then they were like, Christina should run the mob. Christina should be featured. Christina to Christina, Christina. Nobody likes Christina. Christina has never been an interesting character. The only time she was an interesting character is when she was Latina Christina, and she was the girl who was like the mob princess. That's the only time she's ever been interesting, and that wasn't even Lexi, who was the Christina that we all really know. But the show decided instead of writing a decent story and giving characters who we knew and really liked decent stories, to like pander to this like online audience who asked for a character who everybody all of them now are saying they don't like. This is exactly what they did with Sona because people didn't like Carly, so they were like, we like Sunny and Nina, and that was only one fan base on one social media platform, and then you ended up having something where everybody else hated it. So the show needs to figure out, and I don't know if it's because the analytics team and the social media team is just as old as the writing team, but they need to figure it out because this is not smart and it hasn't been smart for a long time. That's my soapbox. I'm so sorry for going on that monologue.
No, you're right. I think, yeah, they don't know how to react to fandom. In some ways, it can be very detrimental. Um, but uh, I'm hoping that they are able to turn it around. Because, I mean, Kate Mansi is a popular, well, not on Twitter right now, but she is a great actress, and they
They
shouldn't
haven't let her
waste
show
that.
it.
Yeah, they haven't let her show it. And so get her so she can get back to the popularity she deserves to have because she's a good actress. They need to write her better. Um, and I'm hoping that, speaking of great actors who are not being written well, Jonathan Jackson, it's crazy. But
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. My fave. To know me is to know how much I love Lucky. Like,
Hmm.
since the beginning of this podcast, since we started recording years ago, I made it very clear that JJ's Lucky was my Lucky. We didn't even have any thought to believe he was coming back.
All right.
That's my
None.
guy. And even I'm
Hmm.
like, what the hell am I watching? So let's move on to and if we can come back in hot text if we have any more about the trial. But let's talk about the mystery of Sam's death. So basically, we know now I can't remember the drug's name that was put in her that was put
Digitalis?
digitalis put in her
I
IV.
think, yeah.
Look at you, Grey's Anatomy. Um,
Right.
it was put in her IV, and we don't know who did it. We
Hmm.
do know that she also had morphine. The last person to sign off on her chart was Elizabeth, and the morphine was on time, so that does save Liz. So now we got to figure out who put the digitalis there. And for whatever reason, Lucky believes that he can help find out. And also, he's like, "Yeah, I was going to bounce, but you might need help." Lucky.
First of all, dude, like everyone has been trying to tell you, if you're going to stay for your son. It doesn't have to be so you can be Captain Save a
Okay.
Liz. Uh,
Okay.
it should be about because your son needs you. But whatever, I think they're also trying to spark maybe his investigative nature. So maybe he'll go back to being an investigator in OPD. I don't know, but it's weird,
OPD.
but that's fine. Oh, yes.
PCPD. You're in
Oh,
Oakland. You're thinking about the Oakland police. That's so funny.
oh, PCDPD, whatever. Go back
Mm-hmm.
to the police department. Give him a job that, Elizabeth will appreciate. I don't know. But yeah, but in any case, it's giving him something to do, which is better than going around interviewing everybody to find out if he should stay home. So I'm like, I'm like, that's better. It's better than, what we had been getting before. So I'm okay if he has a focus now. It's a stupid reason to have a focus, but he has a focus. And then now
Hmm.
he's going to figure out the mystery of Lulu disappeared, which again, I think I really wish that the first time Lulu fell on the floor, I really wish that maybe Dante wanted to go by and visit. I wish somebody found her. But we'll talk about that more. But yeah, Lucky now has a purpose. I'm glad it's a stupid purpose, but he has a purpose now.
I mean, when it comes to JJ's Lucky, I'm all in for LNL too.
Yeah.
I really appreciated all the faces that Becky was making through all of the time they had together. But I'm also like,
Yes.
is Liz breaking HIPAA?
Yeah. Oh
Like, how
yeah,
you?
because she's telling him all kinds of stuff. And how come the um the hospital didn't call Laura and Lucky right away and be like, "Oh, we got the autopsy results." Well, maybe because they're trying to avoid a lawsuit themselves.
Yeah, I mean, the hospital, like Lucky and Laura have no right to the autopsy results.
At all. I mean, even though, oh yeah, because it's Sam.
Yeah, yeah.
But why? Yeah, I'm thinking it
But
was Lulu.
yeah, like it was so wild. They're just like, and Lucky actually keeps saying Sam was a friend. Like he said this like two or three times. So I do wonder if maybe we'll see him like stepping into Jacqueline McCall and like actually being a
Mm-hmm.
PI as opposed to a cop.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That might be good. Interesting.
it could be interesting. I just
Mm-hmm.
don't see. Yeah. Anyway, so I just want for them to have him actually be a decent father. Um, the fact that Cyrus had to read him down, how embarrassing. Cyrus was like, "Wait, let me see if I wrote down exactly what Cyrus said to him because I gasped. Spend more than a month with your own child, and then we'll discuss family, bro. Embarrassing.
Read him, read him for dirt,
To
and
filth."
it was it was like so satisfying. And be shout out to again Elizabeth's face. She she was like,
Elizabeth was like, he ain't wrong.
"He ain't wrong, telling
He
you the
ain't
truth."
wrong. Good
Right?
message, bad messenger. He ain't wrong.
That was hilarious.
So so we'll see what happens with the mystery of Sam's death. We'll see how this is resolved. We haven't really seen Dante hear about this, so everything is
Right.
feeling very disconnected and very sparse.
Hmm.
But it obviously seems to connect to whatever Cyrus has going on with Lulu. I will say this: the story with Lulu to me is really representative of how little the show thinks of the audience. Because look,
Right.
we are soap fans. We will take people coming back from the dead. We'll take weather machines. We'll take whatever. But it has to feel intentional and like don't insult our intelligence.
Yeah.
Basic things like because I saw when I was on Facebook, saw people being like, "It's just so why are you guys expecting things to be realistic?" I'm sorry if I expect the show called General Hospital to act like a hospital where like people aren't wearing like blood pressure cuffs in bed, which they do all the time. And while somebody who was in a coma, who y'all told us over and over how difficult their surgery was, it was going to be hard on their body, all of this, didn't just get out of bed and have an adventure around town. I don't think
Mhm.
that's too much to ask for.
Right.
I don't think it's too much to ask for to have something be a little bit more realistic. Even if it was her wheeling out or being like, no matter what, it was ridiculous, but at least like she's just holding her back as if somebody hit her in the side, not as if she didn't just have like life and death defying surgery and wake up out of a coma. They wasn't even taking care of her. So I was supposed to believe that she wasn't just laying there for 4 years. They was doing the 5 seconds that the nurses came in to like check her. They wasn't circulating her blood in her legs.
And the scar was too well developed for it to be as recent as it was. I had my abdominal surgery and it did like the stitches did come off in about a week or so, but yeah, it was definitely did not look like that scar. That scar is like
Mm-hmm.
it's if you've had surgery at least a month or so. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but let me talk about my ridiculousness. Y'all know I'm gonna
Tell
feel
me.
some kind of way
Tell
about
me.
a certain person being hooked up with Lulu. First of all, she could run into anybody in town. It did not have to be Cody. Second of all, for us to actually be convinced that Cody did not know who he was picking up is ridiculous. He went 2 or 3 weeks ago. He went into Lulu's hospital room
And had a whole
for no
conversation with
reason,
her in
had
her
a
hand.
whole conversation with her, held her hand, confessed something that she didn't actually need to know. He was in there by himself before Dante came in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so to be like, oh, I see you running the streets and not say, aren't you Lulu?
Aren't
Wait
you?
a minute, aren't you supposed to be sick? Aren't you supposed to be in the hospital? I should call Dante right now. Having whole conversations, offering her lollipops and them having chemistry, whatever. That did not have to happen that way. If even if they really wanted to eventually have a triangle, it did not have to be in that way. It did not have to be in Cody pretending like he never met the woman before and now he has a mystery woman that he needs to rescue. No, it was stupid. And yeah, I don't like the fact that Cody now has chemistry. Fine, whatever. I don't like him. The fact that he still persists on my screen is just amazing to me. But all that to say, make it believable. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I also was not a fan of that. So I've never liked the character of Lulu. Never, like, that's just not, she's not my bag. Never have been. I think the way they've tied her to Sam's death is like another strike against her for me personally. And when I see Alexa Havens, I see Babe Chandler, and that's strike three. So she's already out for me. That said, I think that she's good. Like, I think
Hmm.
that, for what it is, she is good. I could do with her with I could do without Lulu, but with Lulu, I think um she's good. I'm trying to
Hmm.
be positive. I am not at all interested in Lulu and Cody. I guess that's it. I said I had a
I
lot to say.
yeah, I don't feel that same way about Lulu as you do. I actually think she is doing a great job, even if the writing is hella crazy. I loved her scene with James.
Yes.
James was just like, "Who are you?" And scary lady. I loved it. It was hilarious. Apparently,
Hmm.
Lulu will talk any kind of way in front of a child. It don't matter. you know,
Yeah.
love that. She is displaying some of the things that I think is in character for Lulu. Yes, it is really strange to have her just jump up and be out of the hospital bed and do all kinds of all and run around town looking to go home. But it is also actually in Lulu's character because Lulu was down to some shenanigans with Maxie doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And so it's not hard to believe that Lulu would want to try to escape if she felt her life was in danger. It's just unbelievable that she's not in very much pain doing it.
Yes.
so,
Right. The like
so yeah,
the mental like all of that makes sense. It physically does
yes,
not make sense. And it
yeah,
feels, but again, this is the other part of like where the writing doesn't feel intentional. You
right,
had a scene with her and Cody with like him talking to her. And that's your best friend's ex-wife who's in a coma. You know what she looks like.
right. You've seen pictures of her around the
And
house,
And then
like,
you see her with a hospital bracelet on. So at the very least, you should start making some like connections.
right.
Anyway. But I guess what it looks like is that she doesn't know how much time has passed, so she's gonna freak out. I
Hmm.
did see the actor who plays Rocco Finn talking
Hmm.
about how much he's enjoyed working with her. So I
Mm-hmm.
guess we're gonna get a lot of scenes with them, seeing as how he is the first person that saw her, that knew her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, did they just hire Geo to play the violin? Like, is this a soap or is this a concert? Like, what is going on? Enough,
Oh,
enough,
exactly. Yeah. I don't.
enough.
Yeah, again, that was another unnecessary encounter. I totally
Right.
forgot about it because it meant so little to me. But just like he's just playing violin and everybody gets to see him do that. And I guess that
Right.
may be part of his contract because he is a violinist, the actor. So maybe
Mhm.
part of the contract is that he gets to play violin all the time. That's fine. But again, everybody ain't got to have a scene with him.
No, and I mean it's again,
Violin.
here we are. This is a week, short week, 3 days, but it's a week. We know that they're trying to build up Trina and this young man, and when we see Trina, we see her like testifying. Y'all, like, where is the intention around building up these couples, these relationships? Where is the romance on this show?
Mm. And maybe they are trying to make a triangle between Geo and Trina because, again, her last scene was in the trial, and before that, Geo was getting her ready to be on the trial, which again seemed like a throwaway scene to me. But there you are.
Yeah.
It was pretty long scene at least.
Hmm.
Um, and it shows him at being kind of um at least caring for her enough to want
Hmm.
to cheer her up or get her ready for whatever. Gio's a good friend. I don't know.
But it's still just like just Yap Hospital. Nothing happens. They just yapping.
Yeah.
It's anyway. Anything else about Lulu's post hospital adventure?
Um, no.
All right, we'll see what else happens with her. Let's talk about Michael, Drew, and Curtis. So, Drew,
You a
what's
fool.
happening with this character? Curtis, Michael telling you something, and then you blowing Drew's phone up like you his man? Like, what's going on here? What do you mean you called him several times? Do you not remember that his baby mama just died? He could be with his kid. I guess that's not a thought that you might have.
Well, he's definitely trying to make sure that what Michael was saying is true, or at least let Drew know that Michael knows something is up. I don't
Curtis,
know. But yeah,
you're
if
not with the shenanigans. You're not for the shenanigans. This is why you
right.
can't be CEO because you're too stupid. What you mean? Michael coming to you telling you what it is and what it ain't, then Drew not calling you back. You finna tell him the whole thing. You taking notes on an illegal conspiracy. That's why you can't be CEO because you're dumb. Enough.
Ah, yeah, and then Drew just like thinking he's an idiot. If he thinks that he could just go ahead and let Drew like Curtis feel like he's going to get the CEO and Michael not say anything, and Michael's already pissed at you, you're really naive, Drew, if you think you are that smart or have that much finesse to be able to pull the wool over Michael and Curtis's eyes. I don't know.
Michael,
I don't understand how he feels he can hide the fact that he had a full blown affair with Willow.
because let's talk about that. It's
Right.
like the way this is why I'm really not understanding the way Drew's being written. I was like listening to Steve and Bradford's podcast, and they were
Uh-huh.
talking about how they were like out doing their live stuff, and people were like telling Steve that they were happy, like so glad you punched Drew, and they were both
Mm.
like, poor Cameron, because they know
Right.
that like there's nothing redeemable about his character right now. There's literally nothing that's happening that's redeemable. And I know this is like a preview for next week, but apparently he's even gonna come at Jason sideways and say if Jason wants to move in, that him and Scout are moving out. So like you're shady in business, you're shady in Michael, you're making horrible decisions for your daughter. When we see Dante and Jason taking their proper places as Sam's brother husbands. You
Hmm.
are like bucking the system because you salty that he punched you for something he should have punched you for.
Right. You know damn well why he should have punched you for. You have no remorse, no guilt, no nothing.
Nothing.
As a matter of fact, not only you have no remorse, no guilt, you feel self-righteous about it. That you can come at
Hmm.
Jason with all kind of attitude.
And you still not like smart enough to put together that Michael must know more than what you think. Because
Exactly.
Michael is not going to do all that, and Jason's not going to do all that because you kissed her.
Right.
So you're not even smart enough to know why your twin brother is coming at you.
Yeah, he's convinced that only him and Willow know. But the fact that he got punched in the face should have been a huge clue that somebody knows something, and it's probably Michael, because Michael went into Jason. If you knew your nephew the way you say you do, your relationship with your nephew hinged on the fact that he had a relationship with Jason that's 100% tight. And he got to know you because of that past relationship when you were the
Yep.
better Drew. And
Hmm.
so your relationship was because of Jason himself. So the fact that you think that Michael wouldn't run to Jason whenever he has a problem is crazy.
Like the fact that you think that he's like, oh, I thought we would settle it. You know that that's the person you confide in. Like, okay,
Right.
you talked to Curtis. Now, just because you lied to Curtis does not mean that Michael is not going to confide into Jason. That's silly. What do you mean? I thought we were going to handle it. Michael already told you I didn't know that Jason was going to do this. Doesn't mean I don't tell
Hmm.
him. I can also tell my brother Dante. I can also tell my daddy because these are people I care about who can help me process things, try to save my marriage if that's what I choose to do. You don't get to tell me
Right.
who to talk to because it might embarrass you.
Exactly.
That's nuts. And you're still lying. And the other thing is like with the Willow Drew thing, it's not as if because you know like sometimes the soap trope is like people end up in these places accidentally or they run into each other they didn't mean to. That's not what happened between them. It they were never trapped somewhere together. You like kept approaching her. You kept being creepy with her.
They did have that one elevator scene.
They had the one elevator scene, but everything
Yeah.
else was like
Else. Yeah.
she's stretching and doing yoga instead of you like running off and her
Hmm.
calling you back like maybe because like if she would have called him back and been like we should be able to be around each other, that's different than him continuing to walk up on her as she tries to put that distance.
Hmm. But
This is
yeah,
what you keep doing.
yeah, she has told you over and over again that she needs to have distance from you. Now, first, when he had the tragedy, she shouldn't have been running after him about the
No.
tragedy either. She should have been running after her husband about the tragedy, not
Yes.
to, not to, Drew.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, she goes and like, oh, I need to comfort Drew, and they end up having, sex in the kids' room. That shouldn't
Mm-hmm.
have happened. But yes, it was just like you said, it wasn't by accident. It wasn't like a one-time thing, definitely never going to happen again. It was destined to happen again because they kept putting each other in each other's orbit.
Mm-hmm.
And
And he wouldn't leave.
he wouldn't leave.
I
Which is
I
even
think
more scandalous because he's sleeping with her mama.
oh my God, I forgot all about that. You're absolutely right. Ugh, so disgusting. I think part of it is also that they never knew what to do with Drew since the moment they brought him back, Cameron Matheson in. And
Hmm.
part of it is because, and you know, I love Carly, that's my girl, but how they wrote him with Carly was really annoying. He
Hmm.
had no story but being all up behind her. That's not interesting. He should have been reestablishing the relationship with his daughter. He should have been running Aurora and doing whatever with Michael for ELQ, and he should have been doing other like mystery stuff or whatever it was, in addition to like maybe building the relationship with Carly. I was talking about this with some other people, The I was excited for Crew because I was like, okay, I really love the what if crossover when it was like Carly Jax and Ryan Lavery.
Hmm.
Because Ryan Lavery was like dynamic and kind of interesting and like all of these things. All of these things that Drew was not, which is why Crew fizzled. And so now, because Crew fizzled and because Drew isn't really liked, they're just like throwing this character under the bus and making him even more unlikable. He's just an avatar of unlikability now.
Hmm.
That's not interesting to me. And
Becoming
they're
more,
dragging it.
and he's becoming, I guess what Michael says, Quartermain, Quartermain. I didn't trust him. I never trust him. And look, he's becoming more Quartermain by the day.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Jason,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
He said that Michael said that to Jason or something.
Yeah, I think, or Jason said it to, I think Jason said it to Carly or something. Anyway, somebody said it. But it's like,
Hmm.
even being a quarter main, it's like, that's not done in a silo, right?
Mm-mm.
Like when quartermains were quartermaining, everybody was doing something. So it wasn't just like you were annoyed at one person, it was that everybody was scheming, everybody was doing something. That's not what's happening. It's just Drew being over the top and weird and gross and betraying Chase or betraying Curtis.
Hmm.
I love
Which is,
Jordan when Curtis was like, he's lying to me, and Jordan was like, I know how much you hate that.
ah! I know from experience what that's like. So,
Another, why
mm,
you lying?
right.
Um, another very ridiculous thing. Sasha is pregnant. This is the most connected fetus ever on the show.
Hmm.
This fetus is a Scorpio, whatever. Yeah, a Scorpio, Corinthos, Spencer, Quartermain. Too powerful.
Right. And we thought Bailey Lou was gonna be something. We haven't heard from Bailey Lou lately.
She just be napping.
Yes. Oh,
Wheezy
James has
face on.
fulfilled Wheezy phase on. James has fulfilled all of our wild child desires. So
Mm-hmm.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
man.
I just love how quick Sasha is pregnant, like how quickly it's happening. I mean, I'm kind of
Hmm.
disappointed because we're losing Chad, and so I'm like, what does this actually mean? You know, like, and they're
Yeah.
not, and they've already said they're not recasting Michael. So what does it mean? Is she going to be a single mom? Is she leaving with the baby? It like, is
Hmm.
this like writing? Are they writing Sasha off, or what is the drama around this? Because part of the drama is that you're pregnant by Willow's husband. So what does this
Yeah.
mean?
Right. A lot of things are going to be up in the air with Michael leaving. Ugh, some really good long-term stories are going to be up in the air.
Well,
That's kind of sad, but
Frank said that they were going to give him a lot of juicy stuff on the way out. So, I mean, who knows what that really means? And we
right.
and will I think he's leaving early next year. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I do like the Sasha Maxi friendship, and it makes me feel like they wouldn't have made Sasha Robert and Holly's kid if she was just leaving. But I think that they did
Yeah.
that probably before they knew that Chad was leaving. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know.
We'll see.
And BLQ and Chase are trying, and everyone in the Q house knows that they're trying, which I find to be very weird.
Yeah, it'd be very awkward to me to be in the house and everybody know that they're trying and that when Chase comes running, it's because he's about to go have sex with his wife. Everybody in the house knows it. That's just awkward. I mean, it's one thing to know that about friends or whatever, but it's another thing to live in the same house as them, right? And Geo knowing
Yeah,
it, and yeah, it's weird.
yeah. And it's also like, are they our only couple that
In
we
the house?
see? You know, in
Yeah.
general. So it's like we have them, we have Joss and Dex who we never see together. Who else is a couple on the show?
Michael and
Mac and
Willow, but they're
Felicia,
Mac and Felicia.
Spixie.
Maxie, yeah, Spixie. Pretty much it.
Where's the romance? Cause them like talking about making a baby and not like I can't keep my hands off my beautiful wife. We're on our honeymoon. We never really got a honeymoon because there's been so much whatever. This is our time. And if a baby comes, a baby comes. That is actually the story I'd rather have from them than like this
Right.
very weird, like we're gonna have sex for a baby, but then we're gonna do something else. It was just weird. I was like, I don't need to know all this. Like,
hmm
this is very
I want
bizarre.
I want the Carly and dude romance. That's what I
Pike
want to
Man,
see.
yeah,
Yes, I like that. Brennan,
yeah,
love
yeah.
it.
We just
And
need more romance. Like
yeah,
everybody, we don't see the couples, they don't get sexy time. Like even romantic, like dinner time. Oh yeah, Portia and Curtis are a
Curtis.
couple. We don't get like even romance, even whining and dining with like implied we're going like there is no like love in the afternoon. Not just like we have to see like oh we S rating sex, but like where is the romance?
Yeah. I mean, we almost even had it with Rick. Rick was trying to go hard for Elizabeth, and Elizabeth shut it down. Like,
And
there's
now
some
Ava
great
got a little
potential.
crush on him. Yeah,
Right. There's some potential couples out there. Rick and Ava, Carly and Brennan, Lulu, Lucky and Liz.
Liz. Yep.
No, I no Lulu and Cody. No. Um, I do not need to see that. So yeah, those potential couples and Trina and Kai. There's at least
hmm
5 couples they could be writing for.
hmm
Yeah.
So I
But then
just don't know what's happening.
and then yeah, Jordan and Isaiah.
Oh yeah, we ain't even seen him.
Right. He
Bring
got
my
a new
man back.
job. Got a new job. Isaiah.
Imagine having somebody as fine, a couple as fine. I mean, just crazy fine as Isaiah and Jordan, and not
hmm
highlighting them. That's
Right.
nuts. That is wild behavior. These
They
two
could be
beautiful
super
people,
couple.
these two extremely beautiful people. Why are they not front and center?
hmm
What's happening? Do you have any hot takes?
It's a hot take. I think we talked about it, so it's not a hot take anymore. Mhm.
Okay, I have something.
Okay.
The place where Lulu is has no urgency. Girl, I'd have been in there tossing medication and trays. What do you mean my sister is missing? And you gonna get back to me tomorrow? No, you gonna do it right now. You acting
Yes.
like it's just not normal for my comatose sister not be in her bed. What do
Right.
you mean?
Right. I'm gonna
What do
go
you
and confront Cyrus, and you can tell me tomorrow about the video.
No, not Lucky, because Lucky was like, y'all need to tell me now,
Yeah.
which is why he got the video. I'm talking about
Right.
the facility was like, well, our tech person and da 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 da. No, like nobody was apologetic about his sister not being in bed. Nobody like this like ridiculous place was letting Cyrus in and out because like
hmm
on his word. Now I'm assuming that somebody there, like the person who called Cyrus, for example, is like, what if Cyrus is like people, like his
I
disciples or
mean, yeah.
whatever? But even like, just what kind of place is this?
And they're like, yeah, we called the mayor, but she was busy. I'm like, but what did you tell the mayor's secretary? Did you tell the mayor's secretary that her
That
daughter
her
is
daughter is
missing?
missing.
Then I'm sure the mayor would have been like, I'm sorry, I gotta do because mayors have personal stuff they need to take care of.
If an emergency is happening, the
Right.
mayor will stop doing what she's doing.
What she's
That is
doing.
what Jordan is here for.
Exactly. you know?
But Jordan is working out talking to her ex instead of talking to Isaiah.
There's nothing going on in Port Charles that is more important. There's like no hurricane, no big earthquake, no huge fire that the mayor cannot stop what she's doing to check after her daughter. So that's ridiculous. So I'm just thinking the facility again is just horrible. And they were definitely too blasé about it. They're like, oh yeah, she's probably on the facility somewhere. Still, that should be an urgent thing. All hands on deck. Let's find this patient.
What is happening? Like, where is
Like,
the urgency?
right?
Dude, just
Everybody in
blase.
the he's like, yeah, we'll find her.
She ain't in the bed. It's weird, but it's cool. No, I'm acting a fool. I'm acting a fool in there.
Yeah, I lost a pa losing a patient is a huge deal.
In the words of the great Bernie Mac, there will be some furniture moving up in there. What are you talking about? You lost my sister. That was, I was just like, nobody is chop to it like they need to.
That's true.
Do I have anything else? Oh, that was so funny. Like Michael and Curtis. So Michael calls Curtis, plays the recording, and then he was like, "Do you believe me now?" And then Curtis answers it like, "Yes, yes, I believe you." I think that was rhetorical, Curtis. How could you not believe him? You heard the recording.
You should have believed him when he first told you, because it should have been like, yeah, I already know that Drew has kissed your husband, your wife. So totally understand. But yeah.
Trifling.
And I also wondered about that technology because I didn't know you can have a phone call and play a video recording at the same time.
Yeah, I don't either. Now, you know that Apple does have where you're on your phone, you can you can just put like on the new update, you can record. But I don't know if you could. Maybe Michael got some rich person phone. I don't know.
Yeah, he's probably got the iPhone 16 with AI.
Michael got the iPhone 18.
He's got the iPhone
Beta
20,
testing.
right? Ah,
Um, so that's all I got. Anything else before we
okay.
get into previews?
No.
All right. Monday, Lulu is in for several shocks. So, as we talked about, one of those shocks is that she doesn't realize how much time has passed. She thinks it's like a couple days. Even
Mm,
when shot to Cody and asked her for the date, he just gave her a date, like day and time. He didn't give her a year. So, she does not know the time has passed.
hmm
Um, Lucky delivers news to Laura. TJ and Molly make a big decision. Alexis and Rick have it out. Jason's announcement rocks Drew.
mm.
Tuesday, Laura confides in Anna. Dante visits Maxie. Danny opens up to Jason and Carly, which I think is interesting because Carly really didn't have nothing to do with the kids beforehand. So this just goes to like the negative planning that's happened amongst all of this. Jason receives an urgent request. Rick defends his actions. Wednesday, Laura breaks bad news. Anna is racked with guilt. I'm going to assume that's probably about Charlotte and Valentine.
hmm
Rick makes an admission to Ava. Jordan advises Curtis. So more Jordan, not with fine ass Isaiah, but with her ex. Tired of it.
hmm
Um, Brooklyn is uneasy. Thursday, Jason makes Brandon an offer. Dante goes to Sunny for advice. Isaiah shares personal news with Jordan. Hey, maybe he's finally telling her he's taking the job.
hmm
TJ opens up to Curtis. Carly makes a risky move.
Are we gonna not have Quartermain Thanksgiving?
I don't
Are
think
we gonna
so.
have any Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I think they skipped it.
No
I don't know.
Thanksgiving.
Friday. Elizabeth is determined to get answers about Sam. Ava makes a demand. Brad gets intel about Lucas. I thought, okay. Lois has a realization. Molly pleads with Christina. Oh yeah, we did talk about how weird Lois was being and like how they are playing towards this like Geo is her grandkid. Not interested, but we'll see what happens.
Right.
Yeah. So we'll see.
We'll
That is the week.
see.
Well, thank y'all for tuning in for another Sunday shift. We are so thankful to have you and thankful that you watch us. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend about Sunday shift, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.